Hi, and welcome to our special edition of Humber News. I'm Leah Vey, coming to you from our newsroom here at Humber College North Campus. Here's what we're working on at this hour. Syrian government forces say they are on the brink of retaking Aleppo. The military says it controls 99% of the city now. Pro-government forces bombarded rebel areas non-stop yesterday. The United Nations says Syrian government troops and allies are killing civilians in eastern Aleppo, including more than 80 people in the past few days. The UN says civilians are being shot in the streets trying to flee and being shot in their homes. There are also reports that more than 100 unaccompanied children are trapped in a building under heavy attack in the city. The UN calls the killings a complete meltdown of humanity and is urging both sides to stop the carnage. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has announced his choice for Secretary of State. It's former Exxon CEO Rex Tillerson. Tillerson's appointment is controversial because of his reputation as a big oil executive and his close relationship with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Trump took to Twitter to defend his selection, saying Tillerson's experience in dealing with foreign governments is key to his appointment. Trump also says he won't reveal any plans for his business ventures until the new year. Meanwhile, U.S. President Barack Obama says he will be paying attention to Trump's policies once he takes office in January.
I'll be paying attention. I'll be a citizen of this country that I love deeply. And I don't anticipate that I suddenly just vanish.
The president sat down with The Daily Show's Trevor Noah to discuss what role he will play when Trump takes office. He says as a U.S. citizen, he'll speak up if he feels the rights of Americans are jeopardized by the new administration. Trump has proposed a temporary ban on Muslims entering the U.S., an act that Obama says violates the Constitution. Obama says he's hopeful the policies he put into place in his last 8 years in office will survive the next 4. Overseas, German Chancellor Angela Merkel and French President François Hollande are calling for an extension of EU sanctions against Russia. The French and German leaders met today ahead of Thursday's EU summit on the conflict in Ukraine. Both leaders say the EU must continue to impose sanctions until a peace deal is implemented. A deal was agreed on last year, but so far there has been little success carrying it out. A court in Dresden, Germany has sentenced a police officer to more than 8 years in jail on cannibalism charges. Officials found the victim's remains buried in the police officer's garden in 2013. However, the murder seems to have been consensual as the two men met on a website dedicated to cannibalism. The two men had extensive contact through emails and text messages before eventually meeting in person in November 2013, where they agreed on the killing. The officer was found guilty of murder and disturbing the peace of the dead. The scientific community is expressing concern with President-elect Trump's stance on climate change. Scientists and researchers are attending the annual meeting of the American Geophysical Union in San Francisco. Reports are surfacing that Trump will name Oklahoma Attorney General Scott Pruitt as head of the Environmental Protection Agency. Pruitt has been an active opponent of the Obama administration's measures to curb climate change. A new study says the world's polar bear population is set to decline 30% over the next 35 years. University and government researchers combined polar bear data with satellite images showing the loss of Arctic sea ice over the past several decades. The results indicate thousands of fewer bears compared to the estimated 26,000 roaming Earth today. Polar bears rely on floating sea ice as platforms for everything from hunting to mating. The findings were presented at the San Francisco conference as part of a discussion about climate impact on wildlife. Here at home, City Council is debating the controversial proposal for road tolls at City Hall, and it'll make a decision today. The plan would introduce tolls on the Don Valley Parkway and Gardner Expressway. Mayor John Tory has designated the proposal as the key matter of today's City Council meeting. City staff say a $2 toll on both highways would generate $166 million a year. Tory says highway users, including visitors to the city, should be asked to make a contribution to the cost of keeping Toronto livable. Now in the world of sports, the Air Canada Centre was on fire last night when the Toronto Raptors took on the Milwaukee Bucks. Norman Powell scored the game-winning basket with less than 6 seconds left on the clock, giving the Raps the win 122-100. The team has won 9 of their last 10 games and have defeated every team in the Eastern Conference they have played so far, except for the Cavaliers, who they have lost all 3 games to. The Raps are set to play the 76ers in Philadelphia tomorrow at 7 p.m. Some big changes could be underway for the Toronto FC. The expansion draft starts today, meaning free agents are now able to negotiate contracts with all MLS clubs. 2 days after their loss to the Seattle Sounders in the Cup final, Toronto FC announced that it declined contract options to some of their players. Some notable players left unprotected are goalkeeper Clint Irwin and midfielders Benoit Cheroux and Will Johnson. A large part of their reserve players are up for trade as well. The Lou Marsh Award is being presented today, and there are quite a few notable names on the list. Two-time winner Sidney Crosby is up for consideration again, while Olympic stars Penny Oleksiak and Andre DeGrasse are among the top contenders. Last year's winner Carey Price was the first goalie to ever win the award. And that's it for sports. Now here's Faria Islam with the latest weather update.
Thank you, Leah. It's finally starting to feel like winter in Toronto. This is the 3-day weather forecast. Today there will be a high of 0 degrees and a low of -9 degrees. Moving on to Wednesday, there will be a high of -4 degrees and a low of -10 degrees. Towards the end of the week, it will be chillier with a chance of flurries. There will be a high of 7 degrees and a low of 10 degrees. If this continues, we'll have a white Christmas. Back to you guys in the newsroom.
Thanks, Faria. We end our special newscast today on a lighter note. Looks like Toronto's Pandas are enjoying the beginning of winter. Most people were dreading the 15-centimeter snowfall this weekend, but not our Panda Cubs. The Toronto Zoo has become a winter wonderland for them. This is the second winter for the Cubs since their birth in October 2015. We're pretty sure that these guys will keep warming our hearts throughout the cold, cold winter. That's your special Humber News update. Happy holidays from the Humber News team.